Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous coming to you with some Gold League goodness out of the map Neoplanet SLE. Spotting up here in the top right-hand corner, we are going to have Iconic's ShadowWraith as our red Zerg player, and down here in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent, Loketar, as the blue Protoss player, and when I read that, I want to say Loketar Ogar. That was the orc thing in Warcraft, right? Loketar Ogar, I think. That was like live, blood and honor. I think. I might be completely wrong, but I'm just going to guess that I'm right, because that's kind of what I do at pretty much every point of my day all the time. I constantly just assume that I'm right, because if I'm not right, something is very, very wrong. And, you know, I don't like to admit that something's very, very wrong with the world. So anyway, it looks like we have both of our players going for fairly standard PvZ builds. Or PvZ, ZVP, all that stuff. Nothing too surprising coming out yet. Loketar, interestingly enough, has not sent a scout out yet. I would be expecting one going out at 11 or 12. I mean, I guess he can wait until this one pops out, but that kind of gives your Zerg opponent a free right to expand. And actually, Loketar is going to go for not scouting, which is interesting because that just puts ShadowWraith in a very nice position to just be able to take his hatchery at any point. And it looks like he will be abusing that and going for the hatchery at 15, which is something you typically try to stop as a Protoss player because it's hard to punish it if it goes down at 15. And it's very easy to stop with a probe and a pylon block and just delay that from going down as long as possible, unlike for Terrans where it's a little bit more awkward. It looks like we do have the assimilator coming down from Loketar at a very standard time. However, he did go for a double assimilator. Interesting. I think we're going to be seeing some sort of sky toss build out from him because that's really the only thing you need gas this early from. He's probably going to be putting 2 workers into each gas if he's doing this right. He has 2 workers in that one already, so I'm guessing he's just going to throw 2 in the other one because you really only need 4 workers worth of gas for sky toss, at least early sky toss when you're building up till tech, and then as soon as like you have your Stargate in production, you switch it into 3 and 3 because that just works out a lot better. He will be starting his Cybernetics core soon. I hope. Yep, there is the Cybernetics core going down. As far as from what ShadowWraith is doing, it looks like a very standard speedling expand, or well, FE into speedlings, which is not too much of a surprise in the current Zerg game because speedlings have always been good and they will always be good for their cost just because they're very low cost unit that you can get out very fast and are really good at getting both scouting information off and those nice surrounds that are very key to a Zerg army. Now, a map like Neoplanet S, I would say, is good for the Zerg player in the PvZ matchup just because there's no watchtowers. So the Zerg player has a big lead when it comes to map information because of the overlords. Surprisingly enough, we actually see ShadowWraith kind of not sending his overlords all over the place. There, the Stargate is coming down for Loketar. Not too much of a surprise. Usually on this map, you send your overlords everywhere. Like, you start kind of in the perimeter of your opponent's base. So you'll have one here, one here, one here, one here. And then you'll kind of just expand out. That way, you know, whenever they put on pressure, you know exactly where it's coming from and what it is. And it's really nice to have that because then the Stargate comes out and it's like, oh, he has Phoenixes now. But usually a lot of Zerg players are starting to go for the faster pneumatic carapace, which I agree with and I love. It's a great strategy and you should definitely get it early because it's on the hatchery for a reason. It really gets you those key scouting opportunities. It delays your Spire a little bit, but if you get that second extractor just a little bit earlier, you actually are in a very good position to take it quite early. And then you just have nice scouting information. You can kind of use your overlords as more sacrificial scouts. However, at the same time, even though they look sacrificial, they typically get out a lot better. It looks like we do have speed actually now just starting from ShadowWraith, which is a little late. And the Oracle is going to be heading out across the map at any point now. We do actually have, interestingly enough, he skipped Warp Gate technology and is actually just going for air armor. So we're going to be seeing a very heavy air commitment from our blue Protoss player, which is interesting. I would definitely call this a Gold League maneuver because typically you never skip Warp Gate, even if you're going air, because Warp Gate is just so key to the Protoss army building composition. It looks like we do have upwards of 11 drones coming out at one time here. The evolution chamber is finishing, the roach warren is just about to finish, but there is really no higher choice of tech coming out from our Zerg player. Here the Oracle is going to be coming in, it's going to be zapping up as many drones as possible. The drone's getting a nice pull off there, so this Oracle shouldn't be able to kill off too many workers. I mean, it's a reasonable harassment tactic still, but really, you know, it only got 2 kills. Which is just a really great reaction from ShadowWraith, managing to pick that thing off before it can do really any damage at all. We do finally have the Nexus coming down from Loketar, but this is an extremely late Nexus coming down at 8 minutes, which is kind of absurd. You know, that's a factor of the fact that he went for that fast Stargate play, but at the same time, you don't want to delay your Nexus that much. That's just a bad plan. As far as his army goes, we are seeing him go fairly heavy into a commitment into Void Rays, which is strange. Typically, you'll see a lot of players start out with quite a few Phoenixes, at least until the Hydralisk then can be coming up, and then they start switching off into those Void Rays. Because Void Rays, they just aren't the greatest when it comes to actually damaging a base. I guess they're pretty good now that they have that armor piercing and they can really take down a Spore Crawler very fast, but I prefer the Phoenixes because they can pick up queens, and when you destroy a queen, you're destroying like 2 barracks worth of protection for a Zerg player, which I think is something that a lot of people don't see. Queens are just very, very low health production structures. Everyone kind of complains that the hatchery is the only production structure you need as a Zerg player, but at the same time, if you snipe off a queen, suddenly that hatchery is working at a much lower rate of production for the next 50 seconds, and even then, you know, the next 90 seconds, because it's going to take a long time for that injector larva to get back on there. So really, I think harassing and killing queens is a great strategy. We see ShadowWraith going for his 3rd base at this point, which is a pretty standard time to move out to that 3rd base as a Zerg player. There's a lot of Void Rays coming out. This is strange. We do have +1 air attack on the way, and +2/+2 is probably going to be starting up right after that. The Overlord is going to be able to come in here, and it's probably going to scritchy scratch its head when it notices that the cybernetics core is still spinning, and the warp gate is actually not done yet, or at least not created for Loketar. He's like, all right, you're going very, or at least he should be. You should be like, oh, you're going very, very, very hard Sky Toss. So the Spire's coming out. And of course, Mutalisks are great against every Sky Toss unit other than Phoenix, which is really the other reason I would say going Phoenix is the choice of unit to go against Zerg players, because they're good against Hydralisks. Hydralisks, if they're not in massive numbers, you can actually win against them quite hard with a good amount of Phoenixes and good control. I've seen it happen quite a bit because Phoenixes do a lot of damage. But even then, even without those Hydralisks, they wreck face on Mutalisks, and that is very key to notice. We actually have our Zerg player doing very well with his injects. I mean, it's not the best inject control, but it's definitely up there as far as a gold player goes. I would say the ShadowWraith's probably pretty close to his next rank, just because, you know, those injects are really what holds Zergs back a lot. It's very important to get that mechanic down and really understand how to use it and get it done well. And not a lot of Zerg players can do it well, but it's very, 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 very important to get that nice creep spread and that nice larva inject action going down onto your bases. We have him kind of waiting out a little bit longer than he should be, but you know, I'm not going to harass him too much for it. We do currently have 5 going up into 6 Void Rays coming out for our Protoss player. He's finally dropping Robotics Facility, but I would have liked to see this much earlier, because Robotics Facilities are really awesome against Hydralisks, and when you build a Skytoss army, you're forcing out the Hydralisks. And if you go like for a Colossus Phoenix army, you'll be surprised at how much damage you can actually manage to do, especially if you just like are constantly pumping out Zealots from a gateway or a gateway or two. You will be amazed at how much you can do to a Zerg player, just because, you know, you have to decide on what you're going to target with the Hydralisks. And if they don't have that strong front line, they're going to get ripped to shreds by the Zealots. And, you know, the Colossus already ripped them to shreds. And the Void Rays are just going to have impunity to really do a lot of damage. He is currently going up to 8 Void Rays, which is a crap ton. That's a lot of Void Rays. I don't like that composition. Just straight Void Ray has not been good for a long time. Like since they took out the movement speed boost in beta. I mean, especially now that they don't have the constant charge up, because they used to be nice when they still had the constant charge up, but now that you have the choice to charge them up and they're only charged up against armored units, they're really starting to become a lot worse, at least en masse. We do have quite a few Hydralisks currently coming out. I'm surprised to not see more Mutalisks in production for ShadowWraith. I mean, not too surprised because he's going for like straight production into those ground versus air upgrades. But he is finally starting to get his air upgrades, and I would be expecting some Hydralisks to come up quite soon. Not sure when, but soon. As far as armies go for our two players, we have neither of them really moving out yet. Here comes the great Hydralisk force. However, there's no splash damage. So I think he's going to be able to do quite well here, because, again, no splash damage from a Protoss player versus a Zerg player is just an awkward scenario to be in, especially when they're going for that big Hydralisk force. It looks like we do have +3 air attacks on the way for our Protoss player, so he is really committing hard into this. But straight Void Ray is going to have a rough time against Hydralisks, because Hydralisks do a lot of damage, and Void Rays, they do a lot of damage too, but they don't deal the DPS that Hydralisks have, and they're a lot costlier. So you can really lose like 2 Hydralisks per Void Ray kill, and you'll be doing perfectly fine. Now, of course, we do see ShadowWraith starting to mix in just a couple roaches, which is a good decision. He's going to be moving down here and checking out the third base of his opponent, seeing that it is non-existent, which is going to put him in a weird, like, wonky, oh, he's going to try to 2-base me. And he waited this long, because usually 2-base attacks come far before the third base of the Zerg player is fully saturated, or at least like right as it happens. If you wait this long, you're kind of just going to be in an awkward scenario where ShadowWraith is at max. We do have the fast overlords finally up, so he will be able to get in here and get a lot of information over onto this army. There he's going to see all of the Void Rays, and that's going to be a little scary, but with this big of a Hydralisk ball, it's not going to be too frightening. The only thing that's really good about Void Rays, and this is the only reason they're great in 4v4s, and like it seems like it's impossible to kill them once they're masked, is that they don't need a concave, because they do that weird stack up thing that air units do. They don't need a concave. So if you have like 12 Void Rays right here, alright, you're only going to have a certain amount of the Hydralisks able to shoot at them, but you will have all of the Void Rays able to shoot at the Hydralisks, which is like the primary reason, which is why you really need to be stutter stepping hard when it comes to fighting off Void Rays. We see the Void Rays popping their prismatic alignment there, but again, these Hydralisks are not armored, so that's not going to be too effective. He's going to snipe off a couple of Hydralisks, but that's not really worth it for losing Void Rays in any number. I mean, he's killing off roaches, but ShadowWraith just has this super economy out of this. I'm surprised to see ShadowWraith going for infestors right now, but it's not too crazy. I mean, it's not absurd. It's a little absurd because he forgot to evolve pathogen glands before starting to make 8 infestors, which is a little bit of a faux pas. But, you know, he'll make up for it. These infestors are going to be quite effective when it comes to just snagging all of these Void Rays. And here comes this engagement. Do these things have muscular augments? Yeah, they do. These are way faster than slow Hydralisks. So really, at this point, I think ShadowWraith could do a reasonable job in just pushing into his opponent's base. But yeah, we see that this Void Ray army kind of demonstrating my point quite well, in that if you watch it engage, instantly all of the Void Rays are hitting their targets. But only a certain amount of the Hydralisks start hitting their targets. Now, of course, the Hydralisks are doing a crap ton of damage to the Void Rays just because they're a much higher DPS unit. But it's still kind of awkward. And we do see these infestors finally out. They are about 5 energy away from a good old fungal growth, but they will rapidly climb up to the point where they have that. And the next time this engagement happens for our Protoss player, I think he's going to be having a bad time. We finally have carriers coming out, but carriers aren't too great against Hydralisks either. Really, you need some splash damage, you need Storm, you need Colossus, you need something to be able to snipe those things off. We do have Enduring Locusts on the way, so we will be seeing Swarm Hosts coming out, and I'm guessing that as he loses Roaches, he's just going to be morphing them straight into Swarm Hosts, which is a great decision, because these Roaches aren't really too effective, but those Swarm Hosts force engagements, which I absolutely love to see come out of a Zerg player, because really you want to force your opponent to engage as fast as possible and on your turf. we actually see a lot of really nice creep spread coming out from ShadowWraith. I would just like to point that out. I mean, this is some beautiful creep spread. It's not, I mean, it's not Grandmaster level, but it's definitely very good for a Gold Leaguer. And we have these Infestors just having enough energy to start really fungal growthing stuff. Are they going to get up to the front lines? They should really be up on the front lines to snag these Void Rays as soon as they start coming out. That would be a lot more effective. Oh my god. Oh god, the mothership's coming. That's going to be awkward. I mean, there really isn't a whole lot here for the mothership to combo with. There is actually, there's quite a few Void Rays, but the mothership will kind of just get sniped very rapidly. And oh my god, ShadowWraith burrowing his units quite smart here. Now, of course, there is an observer, and the observer is kind of just chilling out there going, oh, you burrowed all your units. What a surprise. Here comes the mothership core. I just want to watch it morph in, because I forget if it was cool. Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. That is a pretty nice warp in. And now the mothership core is here. It has not yet been revealed to his opponent, but ShadowWraith should be able to see it quite soon. +3 air upgrades are, of course, done for attack, and +2 air armor is done, which is pretty nice. But +3 is just about to finish for ShadowWraith, so Loketar is going to have to do a really nice job of hiding his units with this mothership core. And oh god, ShadowWraith is not reacting well. These Void Rays need to come, or these Colossi need to come. There we go. Okay, the fungal growth's coming out. I can't remember what the name of Infestors are. And oh my god, this Skytoss army. Wow, that was really way too effective. I thought that was going to be far less effective. I think this is why you need Mutalisks. We do see 32 Hydralisks on the way for ShadowWraith, which is, that's quite a few Hydralisks. He still has 16 larvae, so he could make, you know, another 16 Hydralisks and send them on out there, and that would basically be maxing him out. And that's pretty nice. He could use a macro hatch or two, but he's going up to 4 bases, so he's going to be doing okay here. In fact, he's going up to 5 bases. He already has the 4th one done. And really, at this point, Loketar is going to be in an awkward scenario, because I wouldn't be surprised to see ShadowWraith just start doing Ling run-bys everywhere. We see that this 3rd base in the bottom right-hand corner has been scouted out, so this will be destroyed by Zerglings quite easily, because the army just is not going to be there very fast. And these Lings should be able to knock down these photon cannons. There's a lot of them, but I don't know. I mean, these are high damage Lings, but they don't have any attack upgrades. So even with Adrenal Glands, they're not quite doing their full damage of potential output. They are going to be able to snipe off all of the cannons, I do believe, but these ones warping in might finish. I'm not sure. It looks like we do have the Skytoss army currently on the way, but this is a completely broken position down here in the bottom right-hand corner. The Infestors are starting to pump out yet again, which is very nice, because these Infestors are going to be needed when it comes to actually engaging this army. There is a lot of Skytoss here, but that's a crap ton of Hydralisks. That's a crap ton of Hydralisks. There's a lot of Overseers here, and even if he targets the Overseers, I mean, then he's just not targeting the Hydralisks, which is an awkward position. And if ShadowWraith can manage to get some nice fungal growths out, it should be a pretty good scenario there. The fungal growth not quite hitting all the units, but there we go. Oh god, that's a lot of really nice fungal growths. He will be able to snipe off quite a bit here. Those Infestors are going to be hiding. And yeah, there goes the entire Skytoss army. That's why you don't go Skytoss against the Zerg player. Because unless you can do really good early damage with that first Oracle, you're just going to lose long range in the economic run, and then Hydralisks will destroy you. Along with just straight Zergling run-bys, it's going to be nasty. I mean, the production is still okay out of Loketar, but he's on 1 mining base currently. I mean, this is kind of a mining base, but it's not really a mining base. And with 58 Zerglings in production about to head down to his main, he's going to be in a nasty, nasty spot as a Protoss player. And I don't think he's going to survive through the next few minutes. I'm pretty sure he's dead. I'm 80% sure. Because unless ShadowWraith is the Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't think he can choke out this lead. And yes, that was a hockey joke. Yeah, that's right, that was classy. We still see ShadowWraith preparing for a transition into what I'm guessing is going to be a Corruptor Mutalisk form, but he doesn't really need to. I mean, this game's kind of over. He could really just push in and win. There is not enough carriers to fight him off. I mean, they could try, but they're not going to be successful. You know, they are definitely trying, because they're just kind of hanging out. But again, not going to be successful. It's not going to work out well for him. And it would appear that Loketar is just going to be kind of chilling out. There are a lot of mineral patches that are running out for our blue Protoss player down here in the bottom right-hand corner. This is, of course, the final 90 base he has, and it's not even fully saturated. It's actually only half saturated, which is a little awkward. We do have this Zerg army continuing just to build. We have a lot of Hydralisks and Roaches on the way. And these Zealots are going to be able to move up into here, get a full scout out on what this army composition is. And they're going to go, oh, you don't have an army composition anymore. Silly me. And then they're just going to kill all of the Interceptors because that's a crap ton of Hydralisks. Here we do see the Infested Terran Eggs going down. I'm surprised that there was not like 3 times as many of them. Oh, they're actually going to be going down into the main base, which is a good choice because having them down on that low ground is not too effective. The Overseers are finally getting sniped. That really does not matter for ShadowWraith as this entire Zerg army just moves on and starts destroying the main base of our Protoss player. And I think this is going to be game. I don't think there's a chance for Loketar because again, ShadowWraith is not a team member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that's right, Canada. I'm going there. You guys. I mean, I'm a Bruins fan, and that was just a sad Game 7. I was laughing so hard in that overtime because it was like you were up 4-1 going into or 3-1 going into the third, and then you just like choked it away, and it was kind of pathetic. So anyway, guys, this is Boisterous. If you want any more of my action, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. Also, if you want your games commentated, and seriously, I'm running low on games to commentate, so send them the hell in. You can send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. And I would like to thank you all for watching this wonderful video. And this is Boisterous, signing out.